Internet, Mark from the band 6Foot, based out of Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. Finally here with another video. It's been a few weeks since I put anything out. I've done some changes in my practice room. I kind of got my stuff stacked nicely on a shelf and, you know, just working towards making things, giving myself a little more room, being a little more comfortable, being somewhere where I can shoot some videos and it doesn't kind of look crappy. And so what I want to talk about today is what to buy when you are looking at buying musical equipment for yourself or for your little one, your little budding musician, or whatever situation you might be in. I'm going to talk to parents who are buying instruments for their kids for Christmas, especially, or birthdays or whatever. You know, do not buy those guitar and practice amp combo that you find in the stores for, like, you know, $200 or whatever you find them for. However, do not buy those ever. I don't care how cheap they are. I don't care how worried you are that little Johnny or little Susie isn't going to play the guitar and they're going to lose interest in it, whatever. Do not ever buy them. For two reasons. One, they are cheap and they sound like crap. All those little amplifiers, all those little guitars, they are cheap, they are awful. The kid is more likely to lose interest because it sounds so crappy. You know, they want to play, like, you know, they want to play whatever music it is they want to get into, and they start to play and it's like, it doesn't sound the same at all. I can't get it to sound the same at all. And it's like, no, you won't. Not on a little practice amp and not with a little cheap, you know, Strat or whatever it is you buy. Usually it's a Strat. Like a little Squire Strat. We'll just go with the Squire Strat. That's typically what's in those packages. Don't buy them. They are garbage. They are cheap. They are made by slave labor, if you really want to put it that way. The other reason not to buy them is because then you're stuck with it. Because it has zero value on the used market. It has absolutely no value on the used market. So if you buy the kit for $100 or for $200, you're going to be lucky to get it for $100 out on the used market. Nobody wants it. Nobody in the used market wants it. And I understand. I totally get that, you know, every kid, you know, wants, you know, that Christmas morning experience of, you know, ripping open the package and there's this brand new thing there. But the thing is that you can buy used equipment and you can wrap it up nicely. You can box it up nicely. There's so many ways you can do that. And you can buy your kids good equipment without spending too much money. But here's the other reason you should buy your kid used equipment. There's a few reasons you should buy your kid used equipment, especially if you're not sure if they're going to stick to it necessarily. So, A, it's used. You're not sure it's going to, so you're not contributing to the influx of new crappy equipment that's coming in and that's out there all the time. So here is a great scenario. Here's a great piece of equipment you can buy your kid for Christmas, clean it all up real nice, you know, get a nice case for the guitar, you know, wrap it up under the tree, you know, put the amplifier in a box, get it all wrapped up nice. You can make it look nice. You can make it look just as good as new, basically. You can find lots of good stuff out in the used market that'll look really good. It'll be almost brand new. And the thing is, it'll be, you know, you're going to spend a little bit more for it. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. Now, yeah, you can go and buy the Squire Strat kit with a little amplifier, but that amplifier is going to be tiny. It's going to have an 8-inch speaker in it. And here's the thing. Never buy an amplifier with an 8-inch speaker. Ever. They are garbage. Not that 8-inch speakers are garbage in and of themselves. I mean, you can get some really nice 8-inch speakers, but they are expensive 8-inch speakers for one. And two, they're never by themselves. They're always, with another, they're always either paired together or in quads together. You're never going to find one 8-inch speaker in a good amplifier. Ever. So never buy the little practice amp with an 8-inch speaker. 10-inch speaker, minimum. Absolute minimum. I'm kind of going off on different tangents here, but I'll wrap it all in. It'll all come back together. Trust me. So let's go back. So instead of the Squier Strat, now I should say there's really nothing wrong with Squier overall. They make some decent guitars too, but the ones in those little packages that you get for super cheap at your local music shop or whatever, or online, they aren't good. They're just not. So what you want to look for, and there's a reason for this, what you want to look for is a made in Mexico Fender Strat. I've seen them as low in Canada. I've seen them as low as $400 on the used market. Now, $400, it's like, yeah, okay, that's double what the package for the Squier and the amplifier is. That's double. Yes, it's double. But for two reasons, it'll serve you 10 times better, 1,000 times better than that little crappy Squier. For one, it's going to play well. It's going to play well. It'll sound good. The kid will like playing it better. You will like playing it better if you're buying it for yourself. The second reason is, if the kid loses interest, or if you lose interest in it, you know what? That made in Mexico Fender Strat, it's still worth $400. You can still sell it for exactly what you paid for it. You don't lose anything out of the deal by doing that. Now, if you buy a practice amp with it, yeah, you could probably go, you can probably find, like I said, don't buy an 8-inch practice amp, buy at least a 10-inch. There's a lot of good amps out there. There's the PV Envoy trans tube, which is almost as good as the Bandit trans tube. Sound quality wise, not as many ins and outs and not as much power. There's the Fender Champs, the 110 Champs. They are great. I had one years and years ago. I blew a transistor on me, but it was a great sounding amp. I mean, I didn't even need to monitor it when I played in church. It was just, people were always telling me to turn it down, and this was a little, 10-inch, 30-watt amp. So there's options out there, and you can probably pick those things up for anywhere from, some people really ask too much for their equipment. But I mean, if you can pay $100 or less for a 10-inch, for an amplifier with a 10-inch speaker, then do that. Please do that. Now, I want to touch on one other subject. Now, when you're buying a guitar for yourself, or your loved one, or whatever, now, if your child or the person that you're buying for has done their research and they've specifically asked for a certain type of guitar or amplifier or something like that, as long as it's not insanely out of your budget, I mean, especially if it's their first one and they're asking for, equipment that's like, $2,000 a piece or something like that, then it's like, talk them down to reality. And for yourself too, if you have a limited budget, if what you really want is, say $2,000, but it's going to take you like a year to like save up that much money, then yeah, get something in the interim that's going to satisfy you until such time as you can actually afford that piece. But if we're talking about, what I want to get at here is buy what you want. Buy the piece of equipment that you want. Don't go cheap on it. Don't cheap out. Don't get the one you can afford just because it's all you can afford right now. I'm saying that because I've made that mistake numerous times where I wanted something specific and then it was a little bit out of my price range for that time. Now really, and I could have just saved up for a month or two and gotten the money together. Instead, I went and bought, something else. So I'm going to point to my first guitar. I have it. I bought it back in 1995. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. I bought it back in 1995, and it wasn't a bad purchase, but it wasn't what I wanted still. And I've more or less been stuck with it ever since. So here is the guitar. It is basically a Strat clone. It's kind of in pieces at the moment. I vandalized it for for another project I was working. I vandalized it for one of my basses. Which is okay, because what I've always wanted to do is turn this into more of a dual humbucker kind of machine anyway, and eventually I'll probably do that. So, and that's the thing. That's, when I bought this, that's what I wanted. I wanted something with dual humbuckers. I wanted a metal guitar, is what I wanted. And I ended up buying a Strat clone. So, it's a Hamer Slammer series. It was built in Korea, in the Cort factory. So it's essentially built by Cort. And floating bridge, you know, it's a Strat. I didn't want a Strat. I really didn't. So, but I ended up with one anyway, because it's what I could have. It was what I could afford right at that moment. So I think I paid like $450 for it. Now, had I waited a little bit, waited a couple months, saved up a little more money, I could have got myself a dual humbucker Hamer, not the Slammer series, an actual, I think an actual Japanese built one, I believe. I'm not sure. Might have been American built even. But the guy played it for me and showed it to me, and it was another $250 for it. And it's like, I wanted it so bad, and I was just like, oh, but it's like, I can't afford it right now, and I didn't want to wait. My other guitar that I had been stolen, and I didn't have one, and I wanted to be playing. And really, that was the thing, and I never really got, I never got to playing so much and so well or anything that it really mattered. I could have waited the 2 months, it would have been fine. But, so, that's the mistake I made. I did not buy what I wanted, and I think that is part of the reason why, a little bit of the reason why I may not have progressed as much back then as I could have. And even when I play today, when I play guitar today, I just like, whatever. Like, there's no love in it. There's no joy for me in, playing lead guitar. Maybe I just am a bass player, and that's all there is to it. I don't know. But maybe it's my guitar. Please check out SixFootBand.com and take a look at the description down below. I have all of the links for all of our social media there. Whatever. I try to keep those updated as well and try to post regularly. It's a lot of work, actually, to do a lot of this. So, and we are really hoping to have our album ready for, if not the end of 2016, the very beginning of 2017. Cross our fingers. We've actually got some decent tracks laid down, and I think that's it for now. Thank you very much.